Hi, my name is Marissa, and I'm making this video because I am a POTS patient, and I've had POTS for almost 2 years. On my 28th birthday, I was diagnosed with POTS, and just recently I read a story of a girl who was in college, and she was diagnosed with POTS. She was very good at a lot of things, overachiever. Um, And once she was diagnosed with this illness, she was not able to do a lot of the things that she was able to do before. Um, and a couple of weeks ago, she uh, committed suicide here in Tampa at the Tampa International Airport, where I live. And I could not help but feeling an extreme amount of grief for this girl and her family because number one, I have POTS also, and number two, because she lost hope when there is hope. Because, I mean, whether you're a POTS patient or a cancer patient or any other type of person going through a chronic illness or a debilitating disease, there is always hope. And even though I will say having POTS can be, and I know this from watching numerous videos, having POTS can be very limiting, and it can be a barricade for a lot of things. Um, However, there's always hope and there's always a way to get through it. I personally got lucky because most of the people who have POTS and were diagnosed with POTS weren't diagnosed were not diagnosed for years. Um, they've gone from doctor to doctor and basically have been told that they're crazy or it's in their head or have just been given the wrong diagnosis. Whatever the case may be, I was very lucky. It just so happens that I was living in Georgia at the time that I was diagnosed, and um, the incident occurred while I was working at work in a doctor's office. And the doctor I was working for at the time called a cardiologist, referred me to him, and when I went to see him, I asked him, I said, how many POTS patients have you actually seen? Well, it turns out he was actually managing 500 to 800 POTS patients because all of the doctors were sending their patients to him because they didn't know what to do with a POTS patient. Of course, most of you know that it's a very new chronic illness that most doctors don't know much about. And so I just ended up getting lucky that I was sent to this doctor who was managing POTS patients. Even though he still told me, look, we don't know much about this. We can give you medications and see if they work. And we don't know how to make this better, when it will go away. It could go away on its own, and you might have it forever. You could not have it in a month. They really don't know. But at least he was honest with me and told me the truth. It just so happened that I tried one medication and it was helping. I knew that I needed another medication, so he gave me another medication. I've been on two medications for the 2 years that I've had POTS. I've been on them. I've been on flecainide, which is the generic for Tambicor, and I've been on Pindalol, which is a beta blocker. Because I was so happy that the medication was working for the symptoms I was having due to POTS, it didn't bother me that I was having symptoms from the medications. I was just so happy that I was able to function because prior to taking the medication, I could not get out of bed. I couldn't walk from here to the bathroom without wanting to lie down on the floor because I was so out of breath. I would wake up in the middle of the night with sweating. I would have muscle cramps, muscle twitches. I had muscle twitches all night. Um, I could. I was very, very out of breath. I had no energy. I felt like my heart was racing all the time. I felt very anxious all the time. I felt like something was attacking my nerves. Just laying down. I could just be laying down, and I felt like I was running a marathon. Um, and I started noticing this prior to being diagnosed because I was working out a lot. I've always been very athletic. I grew up playing softball for years, and so when I was at the gym and I couldn't do really anything without being out of breath, I knew something was going on. So now that I've been on the medication for a while, I'm not comfortable with feeling lethargic, with feeling like I'm not really fully functioning like I should. In fact, I cut my medication in half probably 5 to 6 months ago because I couldn't remember anything. The medication made me feel like I was drugged all the time. I just felt like a cloud was hovering around in my brain, and it was affecting my work. It was affecting my life, and I was I was starting to think I had dementia because I couldn't remember anything. So I cut my pills in half. Oh my gosh, what a big difference. So I've been taking half of the pills for about 5 to 6 months now. And now I'm ready to see if I can get off the medication and heal this naturally. I am not trying to advise anyone to stop your medication. God knows you need to talk to your doctor about that, and you need to make sure that you are doing it in a very smart and educated way. You know, I've researched this, um, as much as there is to research, but I mean, I probably know more than my doctor does because he's very busy and he doesn't have time to learn about any of this new stuff. So I've educated myself and I feel comfortable with getting off the medication. I've actually been off the medication totally for 5 days now. I'm on day 5 of not taking my medications, but there are steps that I'm taking to getting off the medication so that my body is able to heal itself properly, because I believe that this happened because of damage that was done to my body through my diet due to my gluten allergy, which I was undiagnosed for 20 something years. Which I won't get into that right now because that's a whole long other story. But now that I am ready to start this process, I'm doing a few things, and I want you to know what those things are so that you can research and possibly get more educated about healing your body naturally and letting your body do what it was designed to do. Your body heals itself. Your body knows what it needs to do if it's given the tools to do those things. So the things that I've been doing, number one, which for me has been the most important thing, is I bought a juicer. I've been juicing wheatgrass and I've been juicing large vegetable juices every single day. In fact, I plan on doing that twice a day now, here soon, because I'll have more time. But I'm eating lighter meals. I've already cut out all the gluten. By the way, I'm gluten-free. I'm allergic to it, so I can't eat it. So I don't eat breads. I don't eat pastas. I do eat rice and potatoes, which don't have gluten, but they are carbohydrates that are very hard on the digestive system. And when you have POTS, it's best not to eat large, heavy meals or foods that are harder for the body to digest because it can trigger an episode. So I'm very limiting on the high carb foods. I'm really starting to cut out almost all the sugar that I possibly can. And what I mean by sugar is, yes, I still eat fruit, but I am cutting out processed sugars. And that is very important. I can go on and on about that, but I won't right now. So, juicing and wheatgrass, number one for me. I'm taking a calcium magnesium supplement, 1,500 milligrams. I take one in the morning and one at night, so it equals to 1,000 calcium, 500 magnesium, because I believe that those minerals are very necessary in the process of the heart and arrhythmias and the nervous system, and also because they help with other things, and I won't get into that either. So juicing, wheatgrass, calcium, magnesium. I'm also doing a lavender essential oil on the bottom of my feet because it's very calming. I mean, really anything that will help, I'm doing. One thing that is super important is exercise. Exercise and more exercise. The more exercise you can do, do it. And I know because when I first was diagnosed with POTS, I didn't feel like doing anything. In fact, I couldn't exercise because I was so out of breath. I didn't have any energy whatsoever. But the fact of the matter is, the more exercise you do, the better you're going to feel. And there's actually people who are out there who are curing their POTS via exercise. So I get up in the morning and I do light weights, crunches. I walk the dogs. I have a hard time with a lot of running. I can't really, I mean, I will walk, I'll jog a little bit, but I do have a hard time with running or jogging for a long period of time because I'm out of breath very quickly. But hopefully I will build up to being able to do more. So 5 days now without the medication. Now, I've tried that before. I mean, there was times that I would forget to take my medication and I would notice because I would have started to have chest pains. I would have pinching in my heart, chest pains, and shortness of breath. And then I would feel like really sick, like the feeling you get when you're getting the flu or when you're about to get, when you're about to come down with something, when your whole body aches and you just feel sick, like nauseous, dizzy, and very, very fatigued. But this is 5 days now that I have not been on the medication, and thank you God, I feel really good. I have had maybe 1 or 2 times where I felt my heart beating irregularly, but it did that when I was on the medication also. So I'm not expecting this to be an overnight cure. I'm not expecting this to, I know that this is going to be a long-term process of healing. I know that I'm going to have to do this every day for my body to get where it needs to be after all these years of damage from food and substances and chemicals and God knows what else could have been damaging my body, as opposed to healing it and giving it what it needs. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say for now. I'm probably going to make another video because I just know that there's things that I forgot to say. But anybody who has POTS, please, I mean, there is YouTube, there's Facebook, there's all these other things that I don't even know about. But social media is to such an extent at this time that there's no reason that you can't reach out and find out what other people are going through, what you can do to help yourself. Um, and like I said, it was this story that really hit home on two fronts. She, you know, decided to end her life right down the street from me at the Tampa International Airport, number one, and she was a POTS patient. And the fact that she gave up, it really it brought me to tears. And she was so young. She was in college, and I just want to stress that this is not the end. And this is, I mean, you don't know why this happened, and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but there is always a reason. Whether you don't see it now, maybe you don't see it tomorrow, you will see it one day. Um, I will tell you that right after, because I was diagnosed with POTS while I was living in Georgia, I had to quit my job because I couldn't work. Um, and I had to leave Georgia and come back here to Tampa with my family because I was not, I mean, I couldn't do anything at that point. But then a few months later, I found out that the doctor I was working for decided to move her practice to Indiana. So thank God I moved back because I wouldn't have had a job. So I just want to encourage you to look at the bigger picture sometimes and see that maybe things are happening. Maybe there's a reason beyond you just were diagnosed with an illness. Maybe there's a bigger reason behind that, is what I'm trying to say. Um, and I mean, I could probably list 10 to 20 other reasons why I needed to come back to Tampa, and I would have never done that had I not been diagnosed with POTS. So please don't just look at things with, this 3D image. Look at it from a broader perspective. Don't look at it just from this tiny little, you know, peephole where you're just focusing on the problem. There could be a million other reasons for why something is happening to you, and there usually are. So reach out to people, get in contact with people, research, and just continue to have hope. And that's my message for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to write or email via YouTube. I don't have my, obviously not going to list my email address, but feel free to write and message or whatever. And I mean, there's a lot of POTS patients out there. If it wasn't for the videos that were on YouTube, when I was first diagnosed, I don't know what I would have done. I know I would have lost hope because that was the only thing that was giving me hope. And all the videos that I've watched, everybody says the same thing. If it wasn't for the YouTube videos, I would have lost hope. And I would have never made a YouTube video about this had I really not felt it necessary for people to communicate either one-on-one or just via videos. Sometimes people just need to know someone else is going through the same thing I'm going through, and look, they're okay. So this is the end of my video, and I may make another one regarding the success or failures even of my journey of getting off of the medication and curing my POTS naturally. Thank you for watching my video.